Welcome to the Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning entertainment podcast. On this very episode, what we're going to talk about is Black Adam, our spoiler review of Black Adam. The Rock's changed the hierarchy of the DC universe, and we also have a little look at the Flash trailer. Let's get on with the show. My name's Aaron Peterson, and we're going to bring in Zack Parkerson from the GamingOutsider.com. That's the GamingOutsider.com. And he's going to talk about Black Adam with me. We're going to review the film briefly, spoiler-free, and then we're going to jump into all the spoilers and details from it. But also, he was part of a survey group for the Flash trailer, which is basically they've cut together the Flash trailer, and we talk about that before then. So I think it's pretty fascinating, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So we're going to get right to it. So here is myself and Zack Parkerson talking about The Flash and Black Adam. Well, first, let me introduce you because you haven't been on in a minute. This is Zack Parkerson from the Gaming Outsider, thegamingoutsider.com, if you're looking for a gaming podcast. What's up, Zack?
Does that make us sisters if we're sister podcasts?
I think so. Why wouldn't you just go for brothers? I don't know. That's weird. But
people always like, oh, it's our sister podcast. I don't know.
Don't identify me.
Yeah, you're right. My mistake. I assumed. Yep.
Yeah. And also my fellow former Smirk co-host. I mean, we it's still there, so people can still listen to it if you want some great podcasting content.
Hey, that's so 100 episodes of perfection, if you ask me.
I agree. We still get people asking when you're going to bring it back, so you never know.
A small but passionate fan base. We're like the Firefly of podcasts.
Yes, except nobody on our team has been accused of anything improper or horrible.
Oh, right. Oh, well.
They're not Joss Whedon.
We're like the stars of Firefly.
There you go.
I think they're all unscathed. It's hard to know anymore.
As far as I know. Oh, Joss Whedon.
R.I.P.
How you have failed us. All right, so we're going to talk about two things because you saw Black Adam. You and I both saw Black Adam. You know the comic Black Adam, so we're going to talk about that in a second. But you also saw, what was it, a survey group as you were part of for the Flash trailer?
I was walking into Black Adam. They said, I assume they grabbed me. I was wearing a Justice League shirt, so I don't know if that, but this guy really he's like, hey, do you have 15 minutes to watch a selected preview or whatever? And yeah, I got to see a Flash trailer.
How long of a trailer are we talking? A few minutes?
Yeah,
3
like
minutes?
2.5, 3 minutes. You know.
So you think this is a already professional done trailer ready to release?
I mean, all the CGI and stuff looked done. It was explained to me as like it's like the trailers and editing or whatever. So they're trying to figure out should we cut this from the trailer? Should we try to add more of something in the trailer?
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that, but I want to give everybody a fair warning. You can jump ahead 5 minutes or so if you want to just wait for Black Adam and you don't want to hear anything about the Flash trailer. I mean, you're going to see it in the movie theater eventually. But I just want to know what they're showing right now. I assume it's just Ezra Miller in an orange jumpsuit. Is that pretty much what you see thus far?
Well,
too soon.
Red Ezra. Oh, yeah, because of the prison. Yeah, it's funny because a lot of their questions were about Ezra, but with the trailer, yeah, it opens up with him kind of being like a sad boy. He's like, oh, the past always comes back. You can't outrun the past, stuff like that. And then
you knew that had to be there,
of course. But then he's realizing he's like, he said some line about like, well, if you change your past, you can change your future. So I guess he decides to jump back in time. And that's kind of the
Flashpoint this.
Right. Yeah, just absolutely Flashpoint, which seems was a bizarre decision for your first movie. But after seeing the trailer, I can see it's clearly not interested in being a Flash movie.
Why do you say that?
So the first 30 seconds, right, are about Flash, but it's all about him, wanting to go back in time or whatever. And then it's pretty much Batman for most of the trailer. Like the big reveal shot is of the Bat Cave, and it's got all these different bat suits in it. Like the Michael Keaton suit, and pretty much every suit except for Robert Pattinson.
Oh, really? They didn't invite him, huh?
Well, I assume they're respecting Matt Reeves as building his own universe thing. But yeah, it's a bunch of bat suits, and then you see a bat cycle, which at first glance reminded me of Christian Bale's bat cycle, but I assume it's a Ben Affleck thing. And then Ben Affleck's Batman says a few lines.
So we do get the Affleck. We do get some Affleck.
Affleck seems prominent. You get a brief shot of Supergirl, and then honestly, a lot of the trailer was Michael Shannon as General Zod.
Now, does that give you an impression that maybe we'll get some Henry, no spoilers, but some Henry Cavill action, or is it no? It's just more of the time frame kind of thing to establish heroes and villains of the past.
You see what appears to be Superman and Zod fighting like in the background at some point. It flashes in the finale of Man of Steel for some reason. So
we get Michael Keaton, we get Ben Affleck,
Michael Shannon.
We get Michael Shannon.
For some reason.
We get Supergirl.
Yeah.
Now, TV version of Supergirl or newly cast?
The Sasha Cal, the newly cast girl. And General Zod talking some smack, and I don't know. I assume this is as all the rumors were online, some kind of soft reboot for the universe. I assume he'll change some things in the past. Maybe he'll make sure Superman doesn't snap Zod's neck. Maybe that'll be the big thing.
Maybe he snaps Zack Snyder in half instead.
Right. Zack Snyder's in the crowd. He gets laser-eyed. I'm sure Warner Bros. Probably.
See, fans, we listened to you. We listened.
Oh my God, Walter Hamada would be so happy.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Sucker.
And then, then Michael Keaton shows up. He what I thought was incredibly cringy, but the survey questions sure did seem like they thought this was going to be their big moment, where Michael Keaton says, "Are you ready for this?" And then, then Ezra Miller goes like, "Yeah," and he goes, "Well, if you're ready to get nuts, let's get nuts." I was like,
and then your eyes did what?
My eyes cracked the back of my skull. It was such a cringy little. Almost, it felt like a Marvel writer snuck in here to write a quick joke. Like, it's just such an obvious, ridiculous line.
But on the same token, people are loving the Marvel nostalgia bits.
You're right. Yeah, nostalgia is in, right? I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home, right? That was a big deal. So this kind of feels like the response to that. And like, here's some Batman. Here's a Supergirl. Hey, did you like Man of Steel? Wouldn't it be nice to see that again? Even though
again,
like, the movie's not even 10 years old, buddy. I don't know if we'd really need to get nostalgic for Man of Steel.
Is there? Well, it's a great movie. Is there a shot that you saw where you have Batman and Batman in the same shot? Like you have Keaton and Affleck, or are they always that you can recall?
When he's doing the nuts line, it looked. Yeah, Ben Affleck is like standing next to Flash while he's talking to Michael Keaton, Batman. So I think you're gonna get some Batman on Batman action.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I hope he is bat protection. What do they call those? Bat dumps? That was a really bad joke, and I apologize. So when the trailer is over and they give you a survey and they're trying to find out what you like and what you don't like, right? Because they're trying to hit the right points.
Right.
What did you take away from it?
The biggest takeaway is they seem to be afraid of the fact that Ezra Miller's in this movie.
Do you blame them?
No, of course not, right? But so many of the survey questions were like, have you heard of the controversy? Does the name Ezra Miller, what do you think of when you hear the name Ezra Miller? Like, does it have negative connotations? It's just really funny. I mean, obviously they have no choice at this point but to put out a movie with Ezra Miller in it. But
it's either that or scrap it. It's either that or scrap $300 million and hundreds of other people's work.
I mean, other than the obvious nostalgia trap of here's all the Batman stuff you like, it's probably why the trailer focuses so much on Superman and Batman, is because they're like afraid of reminding you that it's a Flash movie. Or at least I hope so. I hope when I go see this movie, it's an actual Flash movie and not just a weird celebration of the DCEU.
No Grant Gustin, though, right? They didn't CGI him in over Ezra's face.
This is just what is that technology called? Anyway, deepfake. Yeah, they just deepfake him over there. Yeah. Why not? No, who knows? Maybe you'll see Grant Gustin as another Flash. You never know. We saw Ezra Miller was on the Flash TV show that one time.
I'll be perfectly honest. I've thought about this pretty deeply, probably more than anyone really should. If they did that, even it's the end, maybe it's a stinger. They reintroduce him as the Flash. I think it would solve a lot of their problems because they could say goodbye, Ezra. This movie's done. Welcome, Grant.
Yeah,
and I think the fans would welcome that. They would like lose their mind over it.
I think I would certainly be excited. Sure, I don't mind Ezra Miller as Flash, but it's obvious that the damage control of trying to reinvigorate his career as like part of the center of your DC universe just seems like more effort than it's worth.
I don't think they would keep Ezra.
Yeah.
At all. I think this is you've done this to yourself. They're just trying to get it tight enough to where they can release the movie, hopefully make enough money to spawn something else down the road.
Yes, yeah, which is a shame because I love the Flash character. You know, big comic reader of Flash, but boy, I feel like this is gonna be like, oh, we're never gonna have a Flash movie again. You know, like it's.
Well, like I said, I really believe if you get Grant in there at the end and just say, basically, okay, this is the Flash we're following going forward. Like maybe there's a switcheroo or something. I feel like you would win. You would keep some fans. I think they would love that.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Lose their minds.
Especially if this movie is like a celebration of DC the way that the trailer is clearly making it seem. I guess that would be an easier sell to transition him into the role.
Than to recast someone completely new.
Right.
I mean,
because then
it would be very akin to the Daredevil move, bringing Daredevil back.
Yeah. Because then you're going to get some cheers. Whereas if it's a new person, you're just going to get confused looks from the audience.
Exactly.
I'd be happy.
And if you keep him, you're going to get half of the internet that just won't let go of it.
Yeah, well, people are going to do that anyway. The weird sure. Snyder cultists out there. Why is the Superman in his black suit? Why would he, man?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Probably, I knew this movie was going to be Batman heavy, but I was surprised at all the Superman stuff. That's all.
Makes you wonder.
I love Michael Shannon's General Zod, dude. I will fight him.
He's just Michael Shannon. Everybody's like, he was so great in this role. I'm like, he's literally just Michael Shannon in everything else he does.
He's great.
So find any Michael Shannon movie where he's angry. That's what he does.
I love General Zod in The Shape of Water. It was awesome.
Same movie. Same character. Now, do they have a conversation afterward, like where they're fielding the audience that they were asking about Ezra? Or was that just in the survey?
Oh, they hand you like a little tablet so you can silently answer your questions, basically. So you don't have to. I assume so they could keep the controversy to a minimum, But
your vibe was they're very concerned about this.
They're definitely concerned about Ezra, and a lot of the questions were like, "Do you think they should have more humor?" And every time I was like, "God, no, I don't want to see what an executive like out of a movie that seems to have been done for a while. Like, what kind of jokes a boardroom of executives are going to cook up this long later? No, I don't want that."
Well, we'll get one of those really funny ones where Ezra lands on Wonder Woman. And it looks like he's humping her.
Yeah.
Like that.
Dude.
Like, that works so great in Justice League.
Joss Whedon's going to love that one.
You stole it from my movie.
Right.
Yeah. We sure did, perv.
He is a perv. Called his mom hot. That was weird. Anyway.
Yeah, he's got some issues. That's a whole different story.
No doubt.
All right. So, thumbs up, thumbs down. Where are you at on the Flash trailer? Does it get you excited as a comic book reader, as a fan of the films?
I still think I'm mostly thumbs up. I hope we don't spend as much time in the third act of Man of Steel as this trailer is making it seem, because that would just be, I've seen that movie, like it was really great. We don't need to.
So there's a lot of Man of Steel in this.
Yeah, I would say most of the trailer was the third act of Man of Steel, but from the Flash's perspective. And there were some cool shots, like him like running up side of a building as it's collapsing. That was pretty sick. But it's, it was just weird. I'm like, is the movie just rewriting Man of Steel? Is that the goal of the movie? That's kind of what it felt like. And there was a survey question of like, what is the movie? What do you think the plot is about based on this trailer? And I was like, I think it's about rewriting Man of Steel. That seems to be the primary goal based on this trailer.
That's funny. So what do you think of Ezra's performance based on what you saw?
Yeah, he's not Barry Allen like at all, the character from the comics, but I liked Ezra Miller in that first movie. In the Zack Snyder Justice League, he might have had one of the best scenes in the movie when he's racing to rewind time, and he's like, tell Dad, you can tell him I was one of the greats or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great scene. I like Ezra Miller in the role. It sucks he's a criminal, but honestly, I don't know.
Alleged.
You're correct. Alleged. I guess I'm comfortable just going on record at this point of like, I think I've broken. I don't really care what trouble a celebrity has caused anymore at this point, because it feels like the collective consciousness is so choosy about it anyway. Like Mike Tyson has a new Hulu show, but he's convicted of something far more horrific than anything Ezra Miller's done. So it just feels like we can just kind of pick and choose. So I think I'm personally just over it. So Yeah, I like Ezra Miller in the role. I wanted to see a Flash movie with that person.
Well, I'm very curious to see how what you saw is going to change from what we eventually see. And thanks for taking time to talk about that.
Yeah, of course.
Now I want to talk to you about Black Adam. This is a character I know you know.
Yes.
I don't know him from Adam. You're welcome. That just happened.
Biblical humor.
What is funny about this is that The Rock has been trying to get this movie made for 15 years, and at least 10 that I'm aware of, because I remember him talking about it to like MTV News a decade ago. So, I mean, I know he's been trying to get this movie made for a long time. For people that don't know, I just want to say what it's about real quick. In ancient Kahndaq, Teth Adam was bestowed the almighty powers of the gods. Basically, they thought he was going to be a champion, the people's champion. But after he used these powers for vengeance, he was imprisoned, becoming Black Adam. Nearly 5,000 years have passed, and Black Adam has gone from man to myth to legend. Only now he's free, and he's got his unique form of justice, born out of rage. And of course, he is challenged by modern-day heroes who form the Justice Society, who are Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, and Cyclone. Basically, Atom Smasher is a version of Ant-Man. Cyclone is kind of Storm, and Dr. Fate is like Doctor Strange.
Oh, that one hurts.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about some spoilers for this, but first, just the movie. You're a fan of the comic, and the comics, correct me if I'm wrong, he is basically a straight up villain. But here they're presenting him as an anti-hero. As a comic fan, do you feel like it delivered, or is it just more of this delivers as a DC movie? Like, where do you stand in it?
Right, so I expected them to soften up his edges going into it. I will say it felt like as anti-heroes go, he was a little more villainous than most until maybe the very ending, but we could talk about that. But yeah, I think overall I was happy because at the beginning he really did just kind of seem like a straight up villain, which I appreciated, or at least the kind of villainy that he is in the comics, where he's kind of a somewhat just ruler in the comics of Kahndaq. So a little like Dr. Doom, if you're familiar with that character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's in the opening. He's very much just tossing people to death's door.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Left and right.
That's just some of those deaths were so funny. It looked like sometimes you're watching like Mortal Kombat or something. It was so over the top. But yeah, I think overall I was happy with the Black Adam character here.
And as far as The Rock's casting, I have to say, I came dangerously close to go, maybe he needs a few more jokes. And then I'm like, nope, this isn't a Marvel movie. This is a DC movie. They got their own vibe. And I'm good with where he's at. I loved how stern he was, how serious he was, and he took it. He was playing a role as opposed to just being The Rock in every scene.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway. I was like, oh yeah, Dwayne Johnson can actually do different stuff when he wants to. Because I feel like he used to play different characters, and then there's like an 8-year period where he's just been The Rock.
Yeah, it's true. Like Fast Five, and after that,
right,
rock. But he did do some acting. Be Cool. He was great in Be Cool.
Yeah, of course.
Find that one.
Absolutely.
So would you like? Did you like him as Black Adam, the character that you know?
Yeah, I thought I was always on board for Dwayne Johnson being Black Adam, especially because of the way he's been talking about it for so long. I was like, I have to assume he knows the character if he cares this friggin' much about it. So yeah, I was perfectly happy with Dwayne Johnson, and I like that the movie was centered around him, and I like that the good guys were the antagonists of the story. The JSA. Oh,
because they're coming in. Because for people who might not have seen it, Justice Society, which is Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher, they're coming in to lock Black Adam up because, of course, Waller, who famously runs the Suicide Squad, which as soon as you see her, you're like, I don't trust anything anybody's doing. But they're coming to get him and lock him up in prison because they see him as a straight up villain and nobody on this planet can stop him. So that's the concern.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I like seeing Waller, man. I like the idea of Waller being the connective character of the DCEU.
Do you really?
Yeah, I think she'd be.
That's
like because you had like Nick Fury, right, in those early MCU movies, kind of being the character who was everywhere, or Coulson, I guess, more so. But I like the idea of it's someone who's always a bad guy to everybody. Yeah, she's always playing things at her gain.
Yeah, she does that quite a bit.
Yeah, and I love Viola Davis, so it's a win.
I mean, she's the Woman King. Great movie.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Great movie.
That was great.
Yeah, she's always fabulous. So Cole Serra is the director, Kwame Cole Serra. I'm sure I said that wrong, and that's just the way it's going to roll. But this is very much a film that is not so concerned with plot. It's more concerned with just the idea of setting up Black Adam and what this universe means. Did you have any issues with the story? Because that's where critics seem to be completely differentiated from audiences. Audiences are giving it like an 89, 90% rating, while critics are at like 44, 45% at the time we're recording this.
Because the movie never seemed concerned with the overall plot, I never cared either. It's not like the movie was trying to tell me that the Crown of Sabak was this, all impending world ending threat. It was just kind of like a really powerful demon dude. And it was obvious, like the movie was more interested in, the JSA and Black Adam kind of character interactions and primarily a bunch of fun action scenes. So, I wasn't too concerned with the plot, I guess. Like, I just don't care. It's not what I didn't come to this movie for some kind of intricate, labyrinthine structure or anything. I wanted to see 2 hours of Black Adam killing dudes, and I got that. And I wanted to see the JSA on the screen. That was exciting too.
You and I are both critics, but I think both feel kind of differently about how reviews should be. I feel it should be based on the filmmaker's intent, not what the critics want. And that's what I feel I got. Everything here felt like this is the movie they're trying to make, and they're making a fun, pretty by the numbers plot, superhero plot to establish this character, and then maybe rev it up for future servings.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, that's what I try to do over at the Gaming Outsider. Check it out. Where I think it's unfair you need to meet the media with its intent, right? I think that's the least you can do when I'm reviewing a game or whatever. If I really wanted an action game, but they made an RPG, it's not fair to be like, boy, I really wish I had some more RPG mechanics, or action mechanics,
It's also, I don't think, fair if, it's just like every other comic book movie. Okay, but did you enjoy it? Is it good? I mean, so what if it's like other ones? This is its own thing. It's not fair to say, well, there were 10 of those things, so therefore this 11th can't be good. I don't think that's fair if the 11th is still entertaining, which this is, to me. I
agree. Yeah, no, I thought it was a lot of fun. It kind of reminded me of the superhero movies of the 2000s, before the great Iron Man tidal wave. It reminded me of older comic book back when like Bryan Singer's X-Men was a little simpler back then.
It wasn't overly complicated. Not everything was connected.
Yeah.
Now everything's connected, and things that weren't connected are somehow connected. And Wolverine's going to be in Deadpool. I don't understand what's happening over there, but DC is doing its own thing. I don't have a problem with that, and I feel like they are trying to connect more.
Yeah, it seems like clearly based on things happening in this movie, they are.
And Waller is the connective tissue, like you said.
Right. I hope so.
And there is humor in this, by the way. If you really look for it, if I'm not mistaken, they imprison Black Adam in the Rock of Eternity, right? And that right there made me laugh.
I see what you did there. I don't know. I thought that kid was pretty funny.
Atom Smasher?
No.
The actual kid.
The actual kid. I don't remember the kids. The skateboarding cool kid from the 90s. I don't remember.
Haman.
He was cool.
Yes.
I liked him. I liked the way he was trying to sales pitch Black Adam into, branding himself better. I don't know. I
love that they threw some parkour his way. He was a lot of fun on that skateboard.
Yeah, he's like a little Assassin's Creed there, That's a video game in case people don't know. Not the Michael Fassbender thing.
Oh, Jesus. Don't even talk about that.
But I like I guess I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a lot of good recurring jokes even, I would say.
And it's nonstop action. The whole movie is just like full throttle throughout.
Right.
Which is exciting. Now, Aldous Hodge, I've been a huge fan of his for years because he was in Leverage, and now he's Hawkman. I didn't know his character from Adam yet again, but he is a lot more stoic than I was expecting. Because if you ever watch Leverage, he's the comic relief. I mean, he's funny as hell. He's witty. He's quick witted. He's very mouthy. And here he's Tony. He's Tony Stark if he had the personality of Cap.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Not jokey, by the numbers, very direct, very resolute. We just do the right thing at all times, but he's filthy rich and he has all the cool toys.
Right. Yeah, I'm not ultra familiar with Hawkman from the comics, but this seemed like a good representation of that dude.
And how about Pierce Brosnan?
Oh, my
you
God.
love Dr. Fate, who, by the way, came before Doctor Strange.
Right.
So relax all.
Beat him by probably about 20 years or more.
I think 40.
Yeah.
I think 30 or 40 years. It's a long time.
It's no joke. But yeah, Pierce Brosnan, oh my God, man. First of all, it was just great to see him again. I guess he's done stuff here and there, but, he commanded that screen whenever he was there as Dr. Fate. He was just so good. I loved him.
Because he's your favorite Bond, right?
Yes, he is my Bond. I know people don't like. I know the world is not enough, and Die Another Day gets some bad raps out there, but I'll stand by those motion pictures.
Only Christmas Jones.
I thought Christmas only came once a year.
Oh God, that's
so great. That's the whole reason her name is there. It's just like that joke.
They wrote that. Yeah. They wrote that whole script backwards. We got this joke. We need to get it back here.
And her
name's Christmas.
How do we get to this Christmas joke, guys? Oh yeah, I love those movies.
Oh God. Okay, but why do you love Dr. Fate?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's a great, just very charismatic, which is such a buzzword, I know. But he had this kind of like charming, because he knew more than everybody else, but he had this kind of like charming sensibility about him. Like when he's, informing people about their potential deaths and stuff, he almost says it with like a little bit of a smirk, like kind of like a knowing attitude, that things can change and stuff. He seemed like the mediator between the JSA and Black Adam. He's a guy who seemed understanding of where everybody was coming from.
What I found interesting was his powers are very Doctor Strange-ish. And I only say that because I'm more familiar with Doctor Strange.
Yeah, no, and I think that's fair, especially when he did like the multiple Dr. Fate thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I feel like it played better here. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the helmet. I think it looks weirder when you can see the person's face and there's multiple versions of them than it does when they have a helmet on. It just looks more like a clone, so it's less take you out of the movie in some respects, if that makes any sense. But I also like how he seemed to be a little maddened by wearing this helmet, by having all of this future knowledge. It seemed to be driving, and the way that I understand the character, that was a very prominent portion of that character, where whoever wore the helmet slowly goes mad because of that knowledge.
Yeah,
that's fascinating to me, and I really hope we get on more of it.
It's pretty sweet, and the helmet of Naboo. It just looks cool. He had such a cool look in this movie too. I thought, like the way the helmet didn't even have eye holes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was a slick look, and they had like those hieroglyphs on his costume. Yeah, it was cool, and it did crack me up though watching Pierce Brosnan just carry this gold helmet everywhere.
You really just
dangling.
You're just gonna take that everywhere you go. Yeah. Everywhere.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna segue a little bit because I want to talk about some spoilers here. So, if you haven't seen Black Adam, I do want to get your score. So, if $10 is the full price of admission, what would you give Black Adam?
Well, I'm not a film critic, so it's probably gonna be a little softer.
It's fine.
And I'm also, I'm a bit of a DC mark, I'll admit, but I'd probably give it $8, $8.50.
Okay, I give it $6.50 because there were some things that, I was like, all right, story points would be good here, and there's one particular moment I would have loved changed, but that's going to come in the spoiler portion. But that's still, I enjoyed it. It's thoroughly entertaining. I definitely can't wait to see it again. And the Stinger, I give a 10.
Well, obviously, that's at $11 right there.
Yeah, it is. Like, we should raise our rates.
Gotta keep up with inflation.
All right, so if you haven't seen it, turn this podcast off now. That's the last time I'm going to warn you because we're going to talk about spoilers. Okay, so what about the film itself, the Black Adam film versus comic, or however you want to look at it, DCEU? Did you like by the end of it or dislike by the end of it in terms of the direction they were taking it?
The direction of the DCEU?
Yeah, because this is changing the hierarchy of the DCEU, according to The Rock.
I mean, it's a little funny that they kept mentioning that he's like the biggest threat on the planet or whatever, because you have Wonder Woman, who is just as powerful as Superman, except doesn't have a kryptonite weakness.
Plus, has a bitchin' jet that they never show.
Right, so you think she would be the biggest threat, but aside from that, yeah, I think Black Adam's a cool new threat to introduce to the universe, and especially if they lean into his villainy in future movies, I think that he could be a great kind of recurring villain. And what either superhero universe really needs more of is villains who come back, because they're almost always disposed of immediately.
Yeah. And you need villains like these that are a little bit more complex than your typical villain, I guess. And yeah, there are moments where they will do anything to save their people, but that's all Black Adam seems to care about. I will care about these people. I don't give a damn about the rest of you.
Yeah.
That seems to be where he is and where they're building him. And I like that as long as they adhere to it. There was one thing that I thought was interesting, because I had talked to many comic fans, including yourself, before I went and saw Black Adam, DC comic fans, because like I said, didn't know the character from
Adam.
Yeah, thank you. And one of the thing they told me, because that shot that you see everywhere is of The Rock on the throne, right?
Yeah.
You see the replicating a very, I guess, famous shot of Black Adam from 52. I don't know if that's correct.
50,
I understand it.
Great comic.
Okay, thanks. I'm repeating what other people have told me. So it's replicating that moment, and then he destroys the throne. The way that I understand it, you correct me if I'm wrong, in the comics, he would totally have just sat there and enjoyed that.
Yeah, that is what I was alluding to earlier, where until the end, I did not like that moment where he destroys the throne. He says it feels wrong or whatever, and he's going to be a protector and the people have to take care of themselves or whatever. Now he's absolutely just a straight up dictator in the comics. Like in that moment, he should have looked at that kid, just smirked and be like, it feels right. Or like when he's like, we need you to lead us, be like, I think I will. Like that would have been a Black Adam moment. Him smashing the throne, it feels wrong. I was like, oh, it's just you sanded off one too many edges.
So do you have a problem with that as a comic fan? Because obviously, I mean, they're kind of going the Venom route, right? Where they're taking the straight up villain and making him a little softer, a little kinder, a little gentler. Because it's The Rock. Everybody loves The Rock.
Yeah, it did definitely bum me out. I can't deny. I wish it did, and I wish I could be more on board. But because I think even if he did take the throne, I don't think it would have painted him in a villainous light in the movie, because the people want him to take the throne, right? And then in future movies, you could build off that. Maybe the power starts going to his head or whatever, and then he. That's
what I wanted.
Right.
Just from what other people have told me, and then when he sat on there, and I'm like, all right, this is cool, because I like the idea of ending the movie. We don't know if we can trust him at this point. We don't know what he's going to do with this. That sounds awesome.
That would have been great. And what makes him so cool in the comics is, yes, he is a dictator and, his rule is law or whatever. But when it comes to his citizens, he's beloved. He's considered a fair and just ruler, and he protects them, and he makes sure everyone does have their freedoms and stuff. He's just kind of like, but, ultimately, don't forget who's in charge, sort of thing.
I like that.
Yeah, it's super cool, and he has this rule in the comics, especially during 52, where it's like no other heroes or villains can come into his country, which gets him into trouble because some B-list hero shows up and he just murders them, and then gets into trouble with the Justice Society, and which kind of leads into a little bit with the Atom Smasher character in this movie. He and Black Adam are like tight in the comics. They're very close friends. Like when he does murder the hero, I can't even remember the hero obviously because they weren't going to kill off a major one. But Atom Smasher sides with him, and he's like, no, hey, it's his country, man. It's his rules. Like, why are we mad at him? He told us the rules, and we just didn't listen.
Why couldn't we have got that?
Yeah, well, I wanted that Atom Smasher, not this. Yeah, Ant-Man light.
That was a moment where, even if I didn't know that history, and I only know it vaguely, that was a moment where I'm like, you just changed it. I mean, I get what you're doing, but that's the cliche. Yeah. Right there was the cliche. You should have went with him sitting there and just smirking or something like that, because that would let us know we don't know what he's going to do. And I think it would leave people with a big rah-rah moment, because they'd be like, oh, that's badass.
Yeah, it'd be
not realizing, oh, we just put a dictator in charge.
Right. It'd be different, Yeah. Like you said, it wouldn't be the typical ending. Oh, it would have been great. And honestly, it would have made the post-credits scene make a little more sense.
Look, I have no fault with the post-credits scene, but we can talk about this freely, because this is we're still in spoilers. That was that made my year.
Yeah.
Honestly, bringing Cavill back as Superman made my year.
Well, so they had that shot, those couple of shots earlier where the Superman poster, but then they burn his face away. You know what I mean? When they're fighting, or they punch through the Superman symbol. And I obviously
they punched through like every major symbol. I mean, they were punching through every major symbol of the Justice League, which was great.
Right, but the Superman face being burned off almost felt like a direct shot at the Shazam Superman cameo. You know, and I have a trouble believing any internet rumors. So when people are saying Cavill was back, I was like, sure, but you've said this before. You guys said this for Shazam. You know,
they did. Yep.
So I'm not inclined to believe you. So when he showed up and he was in the smoky shadows, I was like, oh great, here we go again with this tease. And then he spoke though, and it was Cavill. Oh my god, man, I couldn't contain myself. I was squirming with excitement in my seat.
I was so glad he said something that we hadn't heard before, because otherwise I'd be, oh, you just CGI, you just Paul Walkered his ass into there.
It's like Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you did, but he's like, Black Adam, we have to talk. Oh my god, that's the real Cavill.
It was great, yeah, see him again. Oh my god, man, yeah, it was, yeah. I'm a huge DCEU fan, so I'm not afraid to admit it. I was definitely welling up seeing the Cavill back on the screen.
I almost cried.
It was beautiful.
Almost cried.
Because it just seems so impossible, you know? I know money talks, but do you remember like that really weird, depressed video Cavill put out where he was like looking at his Superman action figures all sadly from a few years ago? Like I was like, oh, it's over, man. Like there's no way. There's some kind of bad blood, but I guess, hey, Discovery doing 90 things wrong, but at least it did one good thing.
I'm just so happy because he's never been the problem.
No.
Minus the fact that there's no way on God's green earth anyone can mistake Clark Kent for anything but Superman in his shoes. Aside from that, he's a wonderful Superman. It's not his fault that the wider public did not embrace Zack Snyder's movies, because I don't think anyone had a problem with Henry Cavill.
No, it feels like even people I know that don't like Man of Steel and are obvious fools, they never seem to blame Henry Cavill for that.
Well, you'd think you'd be more excited about the Flash trailer as much as you like Man of Steel. I'm just saying.
I do. I love Man of Steel. It's right there on Blu-ray. I can watch it anytime. I don't need to see it again next summer.
It'll be different. It's from a different angle.
You're right. Yeah, all the good stuff's in the background.
Exactly. And he just runs around it.
He just runs around. He just showed up to Zod and be like, hey, man, I would definitely wear a neck brace if I were you. Just a heads up.
That's funny. What I love most about the cameo is that The Rock has done everything he could to spoil it himself.
Yeah, he's not being subtle. Yeah, he's
not being subtle at all. But I think that's kind of genius, right? Because he's trying to get people in butts and seats to go see his movie.
Right.
And so he's not saying it directly, but he's teasing the shit out of it.
Yeah, he's doing everything he can to not say it. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I feel like I do owe Dwayne Johnson a thank you for making this happen. I don't think, would they have pursued Henry Cavill with quite the same vigor without Dwayne Johnson pushing for it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
I firmly believe, somebody told me they had the same agent. I don't know if that's accurate, but whatever it took, fine. Thank you, Dwayne Johnson, as if he needs our thank yous, but thank you.
He'll hear this, I'm sure.
I'm sure he's listening to every podcast about his movie.
I don't know. He might.
I don't think
maybe
so.
If we mention his energy drink, he'll show up. Zoa energy.
You got to mention the tequila and the energy drink, and then he shows up, poof, like a genie.
Yeah, I'm excited for Superman versus Black Adam. It's weird. I kind of feel like maybe you should be building up towards a Shazam versus Black Adam, but whatever they want to do.
I feel, and this is just my opinion, right? Because The Rock's been building this up for a long time, and I know he's fought both, right? Black Adam's fought Superman and Shazam,
right? Yeah, there's even an animated movie where it took both Superman and Shazam to take down Black Adam.
Oh, that sounds bad.
It's pretty great.
That could happen. I think they're going to build up to it. I don't think it's going to be like the next movie. But I think they will do a Man of Steel if this is well received. They'll do a sequel to that. But what I feel firmly is The Rock wants to have a big superhero down with Superman because he loves Superman. And also, I don't think he thinks Shazam is really that badass. I mean, when you put Henry Cavill next to Zachary Levi...
Well... That's the thing. Yeah, if Zachary Levi and Dwayne Johnson standing side by side, it doesn't really look like much of a contest.
Yeah, it's the shortest fight in history.
Right. Ding! Yeah,
and then Superman shows up. Though he looks like that would be a fight. That could be a fight.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, I obviously am very excited for that. Henry Cavill back. And with Ben coming back in Aquaman or whatever, that Jason Momoa totally ruined for everybody. I don't know, man. The future's kind of looking bright again.
And what? One more thing. What do you think about the connection to Peacemaker?
Oh, with that blonde chick. I can't remember her name. I watched that whole show. I can't remember her name.
You should be ashamed
James
of
Gunn
yourself. It's Amelia Harcourt, but it's Jennifer Holland, who's now married to James Gunn.
Harcourt. That's right. I think they call her
Fun
Harcourt
fact.
throughout the.
Yeah.
No, it was fun. Hey, I guess she lived. Spoilers for Peacemaker, but it ended in a cliffhanger.
And apparently they stuck her in the underwater prison in the middle of nowhere. That's just a weird thing to happen.
That's a shame.
But so be it.
Like the Dove of Peace drew it on his gun. But it was cool seeing her. I was like, good for her, Well,
it's all connected. It's all one world. All we need to see is Lady Gaga stroll by, and then we have a connection to the Joker universe too.
Oh my God, I would hang myself. Sounds awful. Not Lady Gaga. Just let that be its own world. That's all. Okay. I don't need everything together. I don't want Robert Pattinson in these movies. I want him in his Batman universe.
Yeah, I want Affleck.
I don't want. I think everything being connected is what's holding the Disney Plus shows back. There's
a lot of that stuff I don't watch.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm never going to know what the connection is.
But yeah, no. Of course, I'm very excited for Henry Cavill. Now, let me ask you, what did you think of Black Adam's origin? Right, with the son giving this power.
Yeah, that got me because I didn't know the background. So that was an interesting twist, I thought, and I really liked it. I thought that was a kind of a cool twist that basically his son saved his life. And then, he was just so mad. He was the wrong guy. So now he's trying to, of course, I don't know if that's how the comics follow, but that's how this movie's going. He's trying to live more up to what his son's idea of him was. And I thought that was an interesting take on it.
Well, I asked because I did like it as well in the movie, but in the origin, I know for Black Adam, and it could have changed because DC Comics loves to reboot every 10 years or so, it feels like. But the Black Adam origin I know was he was actually the uncle of Harut, not his father. And he was helping him lead this rebellion, right? But Harut wanted the people to rise up. He wanted to inspire the people to rise up against the Emperor themselves, and kind of like change things more of the correct way, demand change sort of thing. Okay. But whereas Teth Adam was of the mind of like, you have this infinite power, just go to the palace and destroy this dude, But so, and he and his nephew keep disagreeing, but then they're up on this cliff and his nephew says Shazam to turn into the hero. But Teth Adam shoves him off of the cliff to get struck with a lightning bolt himself and steals the power of Shazam.
Oh.
And it's so much darker that way, obviously. But what is interesting is he kind of, so therefore he doesn't really want to say the word again because he's worried that the power, would leave him or whatever, which is also kind of a cool twist. And then, but it's neat for Black Adam because when he's ruling Kahndaq and stuff, he regrets killing his nephew, right? So it's kind of this thing that eats at him a little bit, but you also kind of can't undo killing your own nephew. You know what I mean? Like, so it definitely paints him as way more of a straight up villain.
Well, maybe they refined it. That part I don't know. I don't really know. Like I said, I don't know the comic lore that much, but that's interesting.
It was cool, but this one I didn't mind this origin either.
They're definitely trying to not make it too dark. It's like a lighter Black Adam,
right? Even though he does shove grenades into dudes' mouths.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
That was pretty. This is Gray Adam. That's what it is. It's Gray Adam.
It's kind of like like a dark Gray Adam.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. He was killing people left and right for about the first half, and then he's like, "Well, I'll try and do it your way. Stop doing it their way. Do it your way. It was cooler. It was more badass."
Hey, ripping Sabak in half was awesome, though.
Yes, it was, and I feel like that entire special effect, by the way, was a nod to The Mummy Returns. Like, hey, we finally got this effect right.
Are you happy, Dwayne? We made it up to you.
Yeah, we finally made it up to where we could make the Scorpion King a little cooler than he was at the time.
There's some intern who was working on The Mummy Returns is now heading a VFX studio. And he's like, I'm going to redeem myself.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the story I choose to believe.
All right, well, that's Black Adam. Thanks everybody for listening. Thank you, Zach, for doing this. Really appreciate you stopping by.
Hey, man, I'm
helping us out.
Happy to be your DC correspondent any day of the week.
And until next Cavill,
we need to talk.
Does that mean Amy Adams is coming back too?
Does she want to come back?
Probably not.
I guess it's a check, right? Like, why wouldn't you? She was great in Man of Steel. She was the main character of that movie. Anyway,
She's the main character in that movie.
she's the active protagonist for the first half of that movie.
That's fair.
Yes.
Remember when they killed Jimmy Olsen?
Yeah, that was great.
Bye, guys.